All right, welcome back to the Quest for Success podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in once again. We are incredibly excited today because we have the big Sam Young with us today, and it's been a bit of an interesting introduction to how we got to meet him through one of Jam's Harvard friends. But we're so grateful, Sam, for you coming on the show today, and we're just gonna have a little chat and talk through some of your amazing experiences and how you've ended up with your journey today.
Yeah, thank you very much. This is Big Sam here. Thank you so much for having me.
So, Sam, we like to start the podcast off because it's all about success. And we like to start off with really the underlying question here, which is, what does success mean to you?
I think success is the definition with everyone have a different definition of
Yes.
success, and for me is I like to say if I can do whatever I want, whenever I want, however I want it, I think this I'll be quite successful. I never come from money, so my family was quite average family in Hong Kong, a blue collar family. But I was very fortunate to they gave up everything you know they have to send me over school in Canada. So I left home when I was 13. But I think success for me is it's actually quite simple to me, to be honest. If I can find my family, go on a holiday once a year, fly business class, we go to a restaurant without looking at the price, stay at a 5-star hotel, buy whatever they want to provide the family. For me, that's pretty successful. So
having that freedom to choose and do anything that you want to do.
Yeah, and then sort of just like for me, success is I'm a very driven person. I don't know if people
so
follow.
that's why here, Sam, we wanna really go deep and understand your journey.
I think like for me it's like you whatever you do, you just got to be extremely like determined, and wherever you set your goals, that if you want to do something, you just do it. There's no excuse. There's no tomorrow, we'll do tomorrow, or there's no like just I think saying something, whatever you say you're gonna do, just do it. I think for me that's a pretty key principle. But I'll kick off the broadcast with my story. So
Yes, please. Yeah.
I left home when I was 13. I went to a boarding school in Canada for in a small town in Three Hills in Alberta.
Did you decided to go to Canada, or your parents decided to send you?
No, so basically, I wasn't the brightest kid growing up in Hong Kong. So my family really, we were Christian background, and then so they really worry about my future in Hong Kong. So they want me to have a better future. So they sent me to a Christian boarding school in Canada. Hopefully that's because I want to go. My aunt is a agent for school study in America. So the whole plan was go to America anyway. But then they felt like Canada might be a better place for me. So I went to Canada for boarding school when I was 13. I love to travel since I was young. I went to New Zealand when I was 11 by myself to an English camp for 3 weeks in Tauranga when I was 11. It was quite a big change, but I fell in love with the overseas experience is quite different, so it's quite good. But then I went 11 or 13, and then after that camp, I decided to just go to school in Canada. So Canada was great, but I was living in a boarding school by myself when I was 13. So that sort of it set a tone of how
you want to travel overseas,
and how you do things. But then I didn't do very well at school. I don't think I'm a school person. So after 2 years, I didn't do very well at school. So we decided to go back to the original route to go to US. So I went to become an exchange student in Denver, Colorado. So I did high school there, 11 for 1 year. I actually skipped grade 12, so I didn't graduate high school in Colorado, and I went to a community college in Seattle, Washington. It's actually is a town called Mount Vernon, which is in Washington State, which is quite a small town. And again, like the family, worry I party too much.
So this is 13-year-old Sam, right? Like,
Yeah. That's well. But by the time I go to US, I was 16.
oh, right.
Yeah, so I spent 2 years in Canada, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
and then when I was 16, I went to US as a
Well, were you staying alone, like, or boarding school?
in Canada, I was staying in a boarding school, so it's a dorm, so that that's where everyone live. And then in Denver, Colorado, when I was an exchange student, I lived with a host family. But this is interesting for
Yeah.
when I lived with this host family. It was quite weird because the first host family I live in, they got white ants at home, so the house condition is not good for me to live in. So we actually have to move last minute. I live with this very wealthy guy in Denver, Colorado. His name is Richard. I don't know if he's still around, but he actually have like 2 private jet himself, and
Wow.
and actually I live with him, but the condition is I have to take care of myself, which is fine because I've been doing that for the past 2 years. And it's just as quite extraordinary. He's driving a $1 million Porsche 911.
Nice.
Like, which is like crazy, right? His push bike is like 4,000 US. It's like it's crazy. Like back in the
Oh, yeah. This is
20 years ago,
Yeah.
so which is crazy. So, but yeah, that was quite a unique experience. That I live in Denver, Colorado. So I went to school grade 11, and like one day he would just ask me like, do you want to go to like San Francisco? And I was like, how? Like, so I'm going to play golf there today. You want to come? And I was like, yeah, sure. So we took the jet, and
Wow.
we went to like, one weekend we'll go to Texas and just visit families, and I would tag along and go. It's such a like crazy experience, right? Like we'll go to
living the life, like high life.
like we'll go into NBA games and we'll sit courtside, and you're just like, what is this? This is crazy, right? So
Is this what life in America is like?
yeah, not really. So, but that was a crazy 1 year experience. But then after that, I went to a community college in Washington, Seattle, in a small town called Mount Vernon. So basically, I finished my high school in a community college. I know this sounds a bit weird for Australian to understand, but you can do that in the US.
right.
For me, the whole point is it's cheaper. So
Yeah.
going to college and going to high school is the same price.
Yeah.
So just go to college and finish my high school there. Funny enough, I did end up in the top 10 party school in America, Washington State University. So that didn't go really well with what my parents' vision I will be. So I actually didn't graduate I don't have a degree. So I was a dropout from university. So they called me back to Hong Kong to like, well, I'll tell you this, right? The story was they find out that I bought a car. And they wasn't very happy about it because like, who's this guy buying a car? Do whatever he wants.
Yeah.
But I was very determined.
Yeah.
Like I want to have a car. I will do whatever it takes to. Like I have 2 jobs and I live with my girlfriend. I didn't pay rent and I bought a car. That's very determined what I did. Yeah, but then. Yeah, I ended up in this party school in America, and it was great. It was good times, but I didn't graduate. So
What's the reason, Sam? You didn't really enjoy studying?
I don't know. I just don't think I am a type of person that learn by like reading
Experience.
Or, like I'm a doer. I'm a doer. So I learn by do. So so basically, I went back to Hong Kong and I would become a cook in a cafe. So that's how I got started. As a kitchen hand, a commis chef.
Yeah.
Like the bottom level of And I had a great time in Hong Kong, actually, to be honest.
Yeah, but your parents probably devastated.
Yeah, I had the best time.
That's so cool.
I like people think I'll be depressed. I'm like, nah, man, this is great.
Yeah,
this
but
is
your
super.
parents were probably
Correct. That's very correct. So after 1 year, they asked me, they give me the opportunity, like, do you want to go back to school in America to finish school? So they gave me a couple of choices. She's like, you can either go back to school in America or you can get a job in the Mandarin Oriental in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
They gave me a couple options or what I should do with life, and I was just like, you know what, fuck this, I'm going to Australia. So I applied this thing called the working holiday visa,
Right.
which because in the kitchen I work at, like the chefs is like,
Why Australia, Sam?
because I see America before, and then like just before I come to Australia, I actually did a study abroad program in Italy, in Florence.
okay.
So I see Europe a little bit. And I was like, I never see this part of the world
Gotta
called
go down
Australia.
under.
And then the ingredient we use in Hong Kong is like the Wagyu beef, the rocket salad,
yeah.
the cheeses. It's all from Australia. The premium stuff.
wow.
So I was like, wow, this what is this country?
is the premium.
Lobster. I'm like, wow, this is great, right? Then when I get to Australia, the Woolworth and the Coles is nothing like that. I'm like, ooh, I was like, what
You gotta go to Harris Farms.
I was like, what a stitch up. So, yeah, so I applied this thing called Working Holiday Visa, which I have no idea what's that about, but some of my colleagues done it before. So we got a ticket, and then 4 days later, the visa approved in 4 days. I'm like,
Oh, wow.
whoa, I didn't expect that. I thought it would be a long
Yeah.
process or interview. You know, America is quite intense, right? So okay, maybe it's time to go. So I went. I was very confident in myself back in the days, and I thought, you know, I could get a job in Hong Kong really easy, and because I speak fluent
Yeah.
English as well, so it's my advantage, right? So I thought really easy to get a job in Sydney. When I first got here, I stayed in the YHA, which is a hostel, which I absolutely hated. Is like 8 guys like living in this room. Is
Yeah,
just,
sharing a room and sharing all the.
bunk beds is actually terrible. So I would never do that again.
So how old are you then? Like,
That was when I was 21.
all right. So,
so-
you came here when you were 21.
Yeah, so that's 15 years ago. So the main thing of the story, for the first 2 weeks I couldn't find a job, really desperate. Like it was the situation wasn't very good. Like I was like, I hated this country when I first arrived. It's like Westfield closed at 5 p.m. I'm like, what is this? People just finished work and you close. Like, because in America, if you notice, like the mall open till like 10 p.m. and like
Yeah.
you know it's quite good.
And especially if you're coming from Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Everything is start
The
9
party,
p.m.
yeah. There's some shopping mall open at 9 p.m. just to cater for that clientele, right?
Yeah.
But this is probably like, I think some people know this story already, but after 14 days I arrived in the country, all my cash that I have and my passport actually was stolen in the workplace.
No.
Yeah, in a Greek restaurant in Gordon. Now it's closed, but I went there for a trial kind of vibe. Like trial mean like you practice and see if you can get a job. But I realized that all my money and my traveling money and my passport got stolen. So that was a breaking point for me. That like, you know, it wasn't very good. So I didn't know what to do. I can't even go home because I didn't have my passport with me. So one of my friend back then, very lucky, borrowed me some money, so $2,000 for me. That's how much I lost. So I brought $3,000 with me. The first 2 weeks I spent $1,000 and I have $2,000 left. And then basically, I can't survive. So he borrowed me $2,000. So basically, I had to get a job regardless what happened. So I work in a very average, terrible cafe in Eastwood, making like $10 an hour and just like, you know, I will do
Was
whatever.
it cash in hand?
I'll do whatever it takes to work. But the hours wasn't great as well. They only give me like less than 30 hours, right? So it's not a lot of money. It's not enough. It's not quite enough. So it was quite challenging for the first 6 months or so. I also I sell French fries in Olympic Park. You know, they have an outside catering business. Like this still exists. I will do that. Like I'll just like sell fries. I'll just help I'll never see so much fries in my life before, but that's what we do. I work in the Easter show, you know, sometimes if I got to do, I got to do. They decide to open a cafe in Ashfield 6 months later, and I was working in the cafe. So I work 100 hours a week.
Wow.
If you do the math, that's 8 o'clock in the morning till midnight every day, singing 7 days a week. So, but
7 days a week.
that got me the money to pay off my friend which I borrowed the money from.
Were you burnt out after that?
Yeah, it was hard. It was not easy. But by the time it finished the few months, then my visa is finished. Like the working holiday visa is finished. So I realized that I actually didn't do any holiday. We just work.
Yeah.
So my friend actually suggested me to go to cooking school. So to get the qualification. So hopefully they can find a better job. So my parents agree with that, and then basically they borrowed me money, and then I went to cooking school in Australia, in La Cordon Bleu, Australia, And then after I graduate, I worked for one of the biggest hospitality group, Maryvale,
Oh wow.
and I got sponsored, and then I got my PR, and then I worked, eight different restaurants in Maryvale, probably.
Right. So they help you to get your
Correct.
residency.
So I'm very grateful for the Maryvale family and Justin, and basically, yeah, that's how I got started in Australia. That's a quite an intense part of the first few years. Was crazy.
Yeah, that's very interesting. I mean, you initially said that your success is all about freedom, right? And then you found that sort of freedom from food. Like, is there any reason? Is that right? Right to say that? Like you found that the happiness, whatever you're looking for.
Well, I guess the reason why I want to open a restaurant is because when I was 14, when I was in a boarding school in Canada, there was no Chinese food back then. So I had to cook, right? So I actually cooked my mom recipe of a chicken dish, and it brought tears to all my friends because they really homesick and really enjoy the food. And at the age of 14, I got the connection that food makes people happy. And that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I didn't know if I want to be a chef or a manager. I just want to open a restaurant so people would be happy. I think that really brought me to like the mentality of like, everything comes with a price, right? So, but you got to work for the money to create that experience that you're after. I think that's what success drive for me is because some people or some haters will be like, why everything has to do about money? Well, because everything is about money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think people misunderstood, which I don't really care. Like, I think being from no money, being from $10 an hour, cash in hand, being like abused in the kitchens, in the cafe, like you sort of like you understand like I don't want this for the rest of my life. I want a better future for me and my family, right? So that's what really give me the driven to push, Yeah, so like very lucky during so fast track what happened in 2020 during lockdown. Basically, all the restaurant is shut, so I didn't have a job. So we all got stood down, which is normal, right? And the government have some sort like very minimal support in the beginning, but I was like, I'm not going to go to Centrelink and line up for money from the government. Like that's not who I am. That's not what I do. I'm healthy. Like, why? It's crazy. One of my very good friend, his name is Andrew. He's owner of Room 10 and Pina in Potts Point. He gave me a call. He's like, Sammy, do you want to do take-home meals? I did not think. I was just like, yep, let's do it. So that's how my business was started. So I cooked the take-home meals with spaghetti bolognese believe it or not, it was spaghetti bolognese in the first week of the menu. And my friend made some pasta and I cooked the sauce. And it was $25 per portion, right? We sold 50 portions the first week.
Oh, wow.
I was like, I couldn't believe it. This is
There's
crazy.
something here. Yeah.
That is crazy. It's more than what I make, working for someone else. So we click. So I then we start doing it again and again, and then my head click. I was like, okay, 50 portions is good, but it's not good enough for me. So I'm a hustler, right?
Yeah.
So I start advertising on internet, on Instagram regarding delivery, right? So from 50 portion, we go to 150 portion now at $25. It's a lot of money, right? For back in the days, we didn't know about GST and bus. So back in the days, it was different. But yeah, it was crazy. And then Charlie actually reached out.
Oh, right.
And yes, the GM of Charlie actually reached out and say, we want to do a collaboration with you.
Really?
And he's so funny. The first time I talked to him, I hung up on him. I was like, I don't know your chicken shop. I don't like chicken. I was like, and then my friend,
Yeah.
and then my friend was like, what are you doing? Like Charlie is the rich neighborhood chicken shop.
Yeah.
Only rich neighbor. I'm like, oh, wait, what do you mean? Like rich? The word rich is like, okay. So I call him back. I say, okay, what do you want to do? And then basically he said, I'll buy a lasagna from you for for. So I said, how much is the lasagna? I said, we sell for $25 for a lasagna. And then I was like, if I sell it to you, then I lose a lot of money because
Yeah.
you want to make money for me. He said, I'll pay you 23. I'm like, no, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense because you are making $2 of every lasagna, which that's not even enough to cover the
Yeah.
GST, to be quite honest. But I was like, wait a minute, what's the vibe here? And then he was like, well, we just want to help you, right? But they were actually very smart in that sense because when people go buy lasagna, they also buy chicken, they also buy
yeah.
salad,
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
A loss leader.
So on the first weekend, we sold 300 lasagna
Wow.
from Chungo. That's a big check.
That
Like, if you think about
yeah.
it, that's a big check. I was like, okay, cool. So that's how I started my takeaway business, and then the lockdown was finished. So the first lockdown was finished. It's not very actually, not very long, but then all the restaurant was like 10 hours
Yeah.
sort of vibe, right? And then we all become part-time chefs, right?
Yep.
And I was like, because my kitchen hand doesn't have any shifts, or the overseas worker didn't get the shifts, right? And I was like, you know what? They can have the shifts. I'll keep going out and hustle because I still have the business that I'm doing. I was like, you know what? You guys have the shift. I'll run the restaurant, but I'll do my thing same time. So I keep pushing on the takeaway and stuff. And then I started this new idea of called the Big Sam Young Experience, which is like my luxury private home catering business.
Nice.
So one day I was just like, I told my friends about this idea and they all think I'm stupid. Like, I was like, you know how so every Christmas, all the chefs gather around and we have a really hectic meal and we spend all our money to buy the most expensive bottle of wine that we can afford, to get all the most expensive ingredient like Wagyu, lobster, truffle, you know. I say, if we can cook for ourselves, why can't we do this for other people?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And all my friends is like, who is gonna pay that?
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So yeah, that was crazy. So I just put on Instagram, if you want me to come cook a year at home, feel free to reach out to me. And then one person reached out to me. It was so funny. It was two packs.
All right. 2 pack.
And then I was like, okay. Like two guests. Like
Yeah,
there's
two
two
guests.
guests.
Yeah, two packs,
I was like, okay, so you know, that was my very first. It was really weird because it was me and Grace cooking for two.
Two people. Yeah.
It was like
Strangers.
it wasn't what I. But I say, you know what? If the money is there, I'll do whatever. I have no ego. I'll say I'll do whatever. And then they loved it, the private dining experience, and then they booked another dinner for 8 people, right? This
wow.
time with wine matching and la la la.
Yeah.
And then it got really busy. Like people are messaging me, can you come cook for me? How much do you charge? La la la.
And the word will go around.
Well, it's
right?
100%
Yeah.
word of mouth. There's no
Word of mouth.
advertising. There's no nothing. So yeah, it was crazy. So at that time, this stage, I was working for Maryvale 5 days a week, and then on the 2 days off I have, I cook private dinners.
Wow.
But that one private dinner already make more money than the whole week's salary, right? That doesn't make any sense to a lot of people, but that's what we did for. Yeah, and then a weekend reservation with me back then was a 3 months waiting list.
Wow.
It was crazy. It
And
was
were
like
all of these people coming in through your Instagram?
100%.
So that's a question I have for you. You now have like close to 45,000 followers. How did you build that following?
I think my approach is quite organic. I never do any promotion or ads or you know it's all organic because I'll now explain to you how this works because my whole business was built on this. So basically every time, for example, right, there's a party of 10. If I cook for them at a private dining dinner, they will most likely tell 10 other people.
Yep.
Right? There will be 100 people. There might be 10 people who make inquiry, right? But only one of them will book out of these 100 people.
It's numbers game. I
But
keep
that's
telling
all
to
we
them.
need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All we need is that one.
Yeah.
Because once you have that one, then that become another 100 people gonna. So yeah, we did over 300 events, and it's not cheap. Like you probably know around the price if you. Yeah, if you ask around, you know the price. But it's not cheap. So basically, we did over 300 events since 2020. So, like for example, this weekend I'm cooking in Melbourne for a client. So which is
So you fly to
yeah,
other
they
states.
pay for my flight and my accommodation, and I cook for them. So we did that in Adelaide, we did it in Brisbane. We're supposed to do it in Tasmania, but the COVID hit didn't happen. But yeah, we're doing Melbourne now. Potentially, we're doing New Zealand in September as well. So
Do you ever think about how crazy that is?
That is crazy. Well,
Like coming from a guy who was making $10 an hour,
yeah,
and now people are flying you all over
that's
the
crazy.
country.
Yeah.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. I just had a huge favor to ask you guys. Over 90% of you who are listening to this episode right now aren't subscribed or aren't following us on your favorite streaming service. So if you could do yourself and us a massive favor, go and click that subscribe or follow button. It means we can grow the show, which means we can get bigger and better guests on for you guys. And with that, back to the episode.
But more crazy is like, so the second lockdown hit, right?
Yeah.
That was pretty bad. So I was going to the cinema, watch a movie with Grace. So basically, but I'm getting all this message that people are kind of canceling the dinner reservation, right? Because of the situation, which I understand. So being an entrepreneur, right? I'm like, okay, fuck this. Because I knew this was gonna come back. So I said, you know what? Fuck this. Let's go. So I put a picture of my truffle pasta at $40 a portion. And then I just start selling on Instagram again. Go back to our root.
Yep.
We sold, in that 90 minutes of movie, we sold 150 portion. So we're back on. But that's just transition. You have to be able to switch, you know?
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Like we end up turning over $300,000 in 12 weeks.
Nice.
We sold, actually it's not a lot of money because after the GST, the wages, the packaging.
Well,
but
achievement,
we survived, right? So we sold 1,200 lobsters in 12 weeks. We sold 50,000 dumplings in 12 weeks. 500 kilo of Wagyu lasagna.
What?
Kilos and kilos of truffles. My frozen product range actually was available in Adelaide, Melbourne, Brisbane, South Coast, New South Wales. It was quite, it was hard. It was really hard. Like, even Providore actually reached out to me. So I'm like, no, man, I'm going to do my own thing, you know? I'm going to do my own Providore, you know?
Yeah.
It was hard, but it was good. Like, it was a big push. Like, the determination. I'll tell you this one story and you understand. So basically, on one weekend, we used to have friends just deliver around for us. So I was doing delivering, right? But I was broken. So my friend suggested that, you know, you need to build a website, you know, because I was taking order on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we built a website. Okay. Okay.
Were you taking orders like?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
on Instagram. I was like writing it down. Okay, fuck, this is the address, this is the time, delivery fee. Okay, let's go. And then basically, then we built a website. Then we hired like 5 friends to do delivery. And then we're all broken. It's like, fuck, this is not good because we're doing a lot, right? So then we did a logistic company, right? One day, this logistic company told me that I got a phone call at about 2 p.m. He's like, these 40 boxes of goods is not going to make it today.
Oh,
And now I
this
freak out.
food.
I was like, just wait a minute. What do you mean by that? Oh, the truck is broken, so we can't deliver this by today. I lost it. So I drove my little Yaris to the factory. I picked up the 40 boxes. You'd be surprised we can fit 40 boxes in the Yaris.
Go the Yaris.
I came back. I called like 5 friends up, and we hand delivery every single box in the same day, because there's no
way.
there's no maybe, there's no mistake.
yeah.
If you order my food, we'll deliver it,
Yeah.
and that's my reputation.
Yeah.
And there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's today. You order for today, you get it today.
Yeah.
So that was the mentality that going through this period was really hard, but it also, if we can survive in that times, we can survive in any time. So my business started during COVID.
Yeah.
We start from zero. There's no investment, there's no investor, there's no family, there's nothing.
I think that's a real entrepreneurial trait.
Man,
Is to take the good things out of the bad.
you gotta hustle.
Yeah.
You gotta push, right? So that's my mentality during the whole COVID time. So after COVID finished, it's a bit weird because no one ordering takeaway food, right? Which I knew that coming, and then no one ordering the private dining because everyone traveling Europe, right? So the business dropped. So I was really frustrated. I was like, fuck, we gotta do something about this. That's my mentality.
Yeah.
You always adapt, you always change, you always push,
Yeah.
right? How do we make this happen, right? So Yeah, I was just going to look at sites, but they all cost like $1 million to fit out, and I didn't have the money. So one of my friend who owned the building now in Small, his name is Lex. He actually reached out and say, if I'm interested to do something together. I was like, not together, but I want to do something myself. I want a restaurant site. And then he was like, good. Can you take over my place? He was a bit tired after 7 years owning Young & Co. And I was like, but I didn't have any money. I was like, we have no money. We don't know what to do. We don't know if this is the right move. We're not sure. But I told him if you give me the opportunity, if I make it, I'll give you some money. So we'll sort it out back then. So Small was born. So we had 2 months to turn this place. We didn't have any money back then. Now we still don't have any money. But like we bought the cheapest chairs and tables. I still remember I speak to this designer that we got, right? She told me like, oh yeah, cool. We're gonna spend 100 grand here. Oh, like, darling, you're lucky if you have 20. So we bought some curtain. We bought the cheapest tables and chairs. We just run. And
Basic stuff.
We couldn't find a restaurant manager. So guess what? I become the restaurant manager. It was a hard learning curve, but it was crazy, man. Like they saw the whole Instagram thing, right? We were flooded with people. Like since the get-go, it was a blessing. Like I didn't understand how lucky we are. I did not understand. I thought it's normal. And the restaurant, we are busy.
Yeah.
But we were like, even like Tuesday, Wednesday night, we were like, full. 2 turns. It was crazy, and people heard about this this castle.
Is that because of the social media effect?
I think there's some famous TikToker or Instagram guys came to my restaurant, which I didn't know, and then they make some reels and put on TikTok, and that went viral. And then I got customer like email us. It's like, I saw your video on TikTok. Can I book a table? I'm like, yeah. Saturday night booking was a 2 months waiting list for a long time. Nowadays it's different, obviously. But then back in the days it was good, man. It was very good. So it's all that hustle, all that push is always like, how do we make that? My mojo is how do we get better than yesterday?
Yeah, 1% better every day.
How do we get better than yesterday? If we better than yesterday, we won already. So it's a constant push, the constant drive. Is you have to be determined. You have to show up every day, regardless you like it or not. You just got to show up. You just got to push, and you just got to drive. I think that's sort of the energy. I'm a big person with. I only want good energies. Mm-hmm. You know what? If the staff is whinging, I'm sorry, this is not for you. When we first opened, it was really hard because I couldn't find any front of house staff, right?
Yeah.
So I had to manage my own, because I was a chef background, is get out. Usually that's the style, right? But I couldn't do that when I have my own restaurant. So I had to learn the hard way, right? To how to manage my emotion and situation, you know? But then I think that the hustle mentality, but it's crazy because people told me that, you can't open a restaurant.
Look who's laughing now.
in Castle Craig. Well, you can't sell a bottle of Chateau Margaux in your restaurant. You can't. Like people say all sort of different things, and you just like, you know what? Let's have a crack. Let's try. Let's see what happens. Yeah. And we are very lucky in a very position that we pour our heart and soul into the business, and I think customers see it, and it's crazy because it's almost like the customer are growing with us. So he came to my previous restaurant that I work for. They buy my lockdown meals. They come to my pop up. We've done over 40 pop ups in the last 3 years.
Wow.
Whatever makes money, we'll do.
Yeah.
That's simple as that.
Yeah.
And then people is like, Sammy, how come you're all about money? I'm like, well, money is everything. For me, it's quite important to relate to that question, that freedom.
Yeah.
I mean, the money is a big part of things.
Money gives you that freedom.
Yeah,
Right?
and like
It's an enabler, right? It enables that freedom.
And like I would rather cry in a Porsche than, and cry in a Toyota every day, So
Not in your Yaris.
So that's like, but like I think a lot of people don't understand that part, and I think the limit that the limit that you putting yourself with that limit, like. So for me, I always think about how do we push another extra 1%? How do we extra push another revenue a little bit more? How do we create a better guest experience?
Yeah.
How do we upgrade our, like every day is constantly question, like how do we do better
Yeah.
than yesterday?
And you talked about then guest experience. And I think that for me is another reason why you've done so well is because this is not just a restaurant. Like where we're sitting,
Yeah.
you can tell this is an experience.
Well,
Is that how you feel?
Well, number one, I wouldn't call myself success. That's that's number one. Number two, I think, and you're right. Like, I people think I use the word experience a lot, and people think that I overuse it. But in general, I think it's experience because there's so many restaurants in you know, buying a watch is an experience for me. Buying a car is an experience. You know, going to the dentist is an experience.
Yeah.
But you can just make it an experience or you can just do average. But why be average when you can be the best, right? So like for me, it's like this is the custom wood table, you know? This chair is leather. Like you if customer, this is my private dining room, and if customer want to indulge themselves in my private dining, this is what they get, right? And I think for me, it's like I always tell my staff, how do we drive? Like, it's like my wine list. I'll give you a good example. When we first started this restaurant, we have 21 on the list. My sommelier actually got 23 and I got upset. I was like, I don't have the money. Why are we doing this? Like, this is not what I told you. I want 20, which part you don't understand, right? And then I saw some Dom Perignon and some more premium stuff on the side, right? After 1 week, I was like, we need another 50 wines. Like, we need it, like now, like yesterday. Like, so I think giving option to customer is very important. One of the things that I love to say in business is you can never sell a product that you don't have. You always need to have options. You always need to have not every day you're gonna sell the DRC or the Grange or the bottle of wine, right?
Yeah.
But if customer want, need to be there, ready to go for them. And for me, that's the experience.
Yeah.
So for me, I think it's quite important that, there's so many perfect chefs out there as well, even in America or in Sydney or in Melbourne. But, I bring a different sort of energies. And when I'm on the floor, you can feel the energy is different with drinking shots and shaving truffles and like that's a different sort of energy that you have to, and we play hip hops, you allow
Nice.
there's no dress code. You don't have to dress up to come to my restaurant, just make yourself look fabulous and comfortable and then come and enjoy,
Yeah. So Sam, you mentioned more, right? Is there any reason that your restaurant called is more?
So you come back for some more. That's actually my girlfriend came up with this name. It's actually quite funny story because when I opened the shop, I was really stressed because it's my first business, right?
Yep.
And my name is on the door. So I told my girlfriend, can you just sort this out? Because even if we call this, I was very confident. I was like, if we call this restaurant shit, it'll still be full every day. That's what I told her. And I was right. But yeah, she looked up some dictionary translation and said small is like, food is like delicious and mouth watering, like a Chinese translation. I was like, well, the S is quite iconic for Sam, and also Super Banana, which is her Instagram handle. So that's S is quite, and then so come back for some more, some more. Okay, great, small, let's go. So I think that's
All right. Nice.
but everything sort of like fall into place. Like we didn't really like work too hard to come up with the name.
Yeah. So you mentioned a few times about Grace and your girlfriend. Is that your business partner as well? Or you cook together?
So we used to work together in Queen Chow, and we met in Miss G's in Maryvale. So yeah, she was the commis chef and I was the chef de partie. We worked in the same section before.
Nice.
But everyone was saying that you can't work with your girlfriend. Everyone saying to me that you can't work with your partner, right? At different levels of.
Yeah.
I disagree. I love it. I love it every day. It's like going to a war with your best friend.
Yeah.
There's someone you can rely on and just push together. I think without Grace, we probably wouldn't be so successful. Well, when I say successful, I mean the business is healthy.
You wouldn't come this far
The
without that.
business is
Yeah.
healthy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, 100%.
So I think like me, I can fully focus on the guest experience, the beverage list, and the business opportunity. Where she focused on the execution.
Nice.
I think that's quite important.
It's a good partnership.
Yeah. So, yeah, she's everything, man. Like I'm very lucky to have her by my side every day. Like, but she is good. Very very determined, very focused. And she also have a very expensive taste as well. So so we like to push harder and you know and reward ourselves, you know, sometimes indulge ourselves a little bit. But yeah, it's really grateful.
And you talked about expensive taste. Going back to the very beginning, do you reckon those expensive tastes came from Richard?
No, I will tell you this story. This is good.
yeah.
I will tell you
Yeah.
and give you a background. So when I first got over Grace, that's 8 years ago, right? I went to Myers in the city, right?
All right.
I told the sales I want to buy a wallet for my girlfriend as a Christmas gift, and then what happened was they just told me that the sales section is on level 3. So because they knew that I wouldn't have money, so that was a horrible feeling. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like they sort of like look down on you. It's like
Yeah,
you don't
yeah.
got no money. Then I went to Chanel to have a look. You know, the cheapest wallets there is $3,000, right? Right, sheepskin, la la la. I don't care
Yeah.
really. So that really got me a harsh feeling. Like I couldn't afford or provide for, like, you know, I bought her a Dyson's like blow.
Yeah.
It's
dryer.
$800 back in the days, right? It's a lot of money, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And when she saw it, she was like, "Well, this is like very average. Like this is like, should be the daily gift, right? It's not a special occasion gift." And I was like, "Darling,"
Is that how you lost your hair?
I was like, "Darling, this is a lot of money for me, right?" So, but I guess that's really
Yeah,
like give me the mentality to push harder to fight better for my family and my
Yeah.
girlfriend. You know,
Lift your game.
yeah. But that's really like I have a goal, so
Yeah.
I will push and to
Yeah.
you know, to go and you know, it's like owning a Porsche. Like we'll talk about the Porsche a bit, right? Like it was a dream for a very long time, and I never actually expected. Like I went to the Porsche dealership and I asked how much, and they say, okay, this is the price. I say, how much deposit you needed? And they say, oh, this is the deposit you need. So I say, okay,
cash.
here you go. Thank you very much. And this is the deposit. So like I think like. But like having a goal is quite important.
Yeah.
You know, and I think like what I tell people a lot is like you don't forget to celebrate the hustle. You know, you gotta celebrate the hustle. You gotta reward yourself. Like it's all about the journey. It's not just about where you start and where you finish. It's all about the journey. It's how you celebrate it, and it's also like because life is short, man. Like you never know what
absolutely.
happened tomorrow. You know, like you just gotta celebrate that. You gotta like indulge yourself. Like people think I'm crazy, but yeah, you do.
absolutely, yeah.
Like drink that Belay wine that you got. Don't wait 10 years. Like
What good is it once you're gone, right?
yeah, and just like celebrate the success, you know, and celebrate others as well, you know. Like I think that's
Absolutely. This is exactly what we are doing. We are celebrating you.
because like there's a lot of hate and there's a lot of like competition and I keep telling people there's enough money in Sydney for everyone.
Yeah.
Like everyone just need to chill. Like there is enough in this beautiful city for everyone. So you just gotta like do your thing and you know keep hustling and keep yourself checking and yeah, just keep grinding, man. Like it's all about like you know like I think for me most importantly is like especially in my industry, I think we need to support each other more and really celebrate each other more.
Yeah.
Because I think people think the restaurant game is very competitive, which I understand a certain, but then there's enough people with money that like to eat out and drink, right? So I think, yeah, I think that what really got me here, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's next for you?
So we are planning for a second restaurant. That's
Nice.
in the cards. But then we're looking for the perfect fit and perfect place. But I think like in the last 2 years is such a incredible journey. Like actually not last 2 years, the last 4 years since 2020, right? It's such an incredible journey. Like I think sometimes I don't do this very often, but like reflect to see like how far you have came. I think sometimes, like for example, we're going to New York in August that was my dream. So we're flying first class and like really
Beautiful.
Really
It's a celebration.
celebrating the
Yeah.
success. I think a lot of people is like, these guys are showing off, flashy, la la la. But for me,
Yeah.
this is like why we push. Like you don't if you don't like it, you don't have to do it. But this is why like we work 6 to 7 days a week, Sometimes we go for a month non-stop every day, We like, so I think it's important to celebrate what you work for. Otherwise you get drained and you get burnout and you get like, and I think for me, just don't forget to celebrate your success, I guess. Or like
100%.
at least we're here now. I wouldn't call myself success, but we're
I
not
mean, you got a long way to go.
we're not close yet. So
that's
we're
a
still
success.
still here, right? So
Yeah.
but yeah, I think for me is that it's all about the energy and the mentality. I think
Yeah.
like being the quest of success.
Yeah.
I think like surround yourself with good people with good energy
Yeah.
and it's quite important. Know your numbers and just dream big, man. Yeah, just dream, just push and go for it. But it's not for everyone too, Entrepreneur, it's not for everyone.
No.
And sometimes I think people like they think it's for everyone, but it's not. Like the sacrifice, the tears, sometimes we push ourselves to the limit. It's rough out there, man. And the business world, and I'm sure you will know, is not easy, man. Like you got to be switched on. You got to be.
Especially in the restaurant game, right? It's
I think every industry is the same. I think
Yeah.
you just got to be switched on. If you are good at just pour all your passion and all your drive, just do whatever you need to do
Yeah.
just to make it happen every day. Stick your action to your words. And I think
Yeah.
you'll be all right. Yeah.
And I think that point about everyone thinks they want to be an entrepreneur because
don't.
because they see the success.
success.
Yeah.
Someone's
But-
success.
But they don't see what goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why people also, when you post about your achievements, I got the Porsche, people are jealous of that because they don't see the grind that goes on behind. Because throughout this conversation, it's pretty clear that there has been so much passion and so much hustle for you to get to where you are today. And maybe that, like, everyone from the outside can't see that,
Correct.
but then they can see the small wins.
Yeah, but I think, and I think the vibe is in this world need to be like more love, more love and
Yeah.
more celebrate success, instead of just like, why is he doing that? Why don't I get that?
Yeah.
Because and I think one of the things that I find really important is you gotta stay in your lane, man. There's no traffic in your lane. When you started to do other people's lane, it discredit your hustle, it discredit all the hard work you put through. So I think it's really important that just stay in your lane, do your own thing. Just don't worry about other people. Just here I am doing my own thing and just continue to push.
And you celebrate it's a celebration for you. right?
Correct.
It's not
Yeah.
to show off
Yeah,
or,
but
Yeah.
but people like some of the people say, "Oh, Sam, you need to not put that thing on Instagram because people will stop supporting you." But what I learned from the past few years is the people actually care about you.
Yep.
The people actually love you.
Yeah.
They're happy for you, man.
Yeah.
Like I have customer coming every day. It's like, man, I saw you go on that trip. That was sick.
Yeah.
Man, how's the car going? I love it. I love the color. Like you get people coming every day with a positive energy into my restaurant. It's like that's so cool, man. Like
Yeah.
how it's
And
great.
also you give that positive energy to every meal that you deliver. to these
Yeah,
guys,
correct,
right?
correct.
Not just food, like the
Even
energy.
in this conversation,
Yeah, well,
the energy.
we need to be positive, man,
Absolutely.
because that's everything to me. That's everything.
Oh,
you know?
yeah,
Of
yeah.
course, like there's it's not sunshine every day, but then
Yep.
it's all depends on how you deal with that too, right? So yeah, for me, negative is no go. Like
Yeah.
you can just stay there and you just stay there and stuck there. You know, where if you're positive, okay. I lose my temper sometimes too. You know, I get stressed out sometimes too.
human,
But
right?
but then you just got to like be positive and just like do your best and see how we go from there.
That's amazing. And I mean, I think one thing for me as well is maybe the reason why people are so interested and keep coming back to you and want to support you is because you've built such a strong personal brand. And so I'm sure even if you started a completely different restaurant, people would flock there
I hope so.
because it's not necessarily about what the food that you're making. Like obviously that's part of it, but it's also the brand and the reputation that you've built.
Yeah, I think like I have a pretty strong personality. Nothing is subtle in my restaurant. Whether it's the 4 liter like vodka bottle or whether it's the Casa Azul range of tequilas or whether it's the big steak or the big lobster, there's no subtle about it.
Yeah.
It's very bold, it's very loud, that's my personality.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's fun, it's casual, it's the hustle. Trust me, some people don't like it. Like
Yeah,
I,
that's
I,
not
I,
the-
I got a complaint last week in saying, the Crown is probably a better fit out than.
Oh,
I'm like, go to the Crown then.
Yeah,
It's great.
yeah.
Or people come, oh, for this price, I could have gone to Mimi's. I'm like, I love Mimi's. I was there 2 weeks ago. You should go to Mimi's too. like, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, it's not right or wrong. But
don't compare. This is
but,
me.
Yeah, but for me, it's all about like being real and being raw. I think this broadcast, I keep myself
Yeah,
pretty raw,
yeah,
like
absolutely,
real,
yeah.
because there's no point. And one of the things I love to say is like, I hated people when they trying to talk to themselves and make themselves feel good, and I think that's dangerous, man. Like, you got to be real with yourself, get uncomfortable, and just push. And that's how I dealt with a lot of situation. And you just got to like, what's best for you, and you just got to go do it. And I think like that's all part of it,
I mean, you've got to wade through that 80% of people who aren't going to like your stuff to find your 20%.
Yeah, but I think it's like everything else. If you have lovers, you're gonna have haters.
Ah, of course. Yeah.
And to be honest with you, and I'll say it loud and clear here, I actually love my haters. Like they are the burning wood.
Critics.
They are the burning wood of my fire. Like
Yeah.
I love it. I love the attention of it. I love the critics.
Yeah.
I love all about it.
Such
Because-
good promotion as well.
Because that pushed me harder.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
get to where I
and you
wanted.
want to prove these guys.
Well,
Yeah,
not,
know it.
not so much proof, but I think for me is it gives me the energy and the push to get to the next level that I want to get to. So yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And looking back on your journey, do you have any regrets?
You mean
Things that you wish you had have done differently?
for the last 4 years?
Yeah.
I'll be. Let me tell you this. This is actually, I did a broadcast recently, another broadcast, and one of the question was, what is the biggest financial loss I have in my business? But then after the guy asked me, he's like, but you got nothing to lose because you start from zero. So for me to answer that question, I have no regrets in the last 4 years in terms of business because I gave everything I have on the table and I pour my
Yeah.
heart and soul into it. And I think and living with a life with no regrets is what I'm all about.
Yeah.
Like drink that bottle of wine.
Yeah.
That's what I always say. So for me, I wouldn't say anything I regret for the last 4 years. I don't think. I think we done beautifully. Every day we live up to the hype of just be yourself, push, work hard,
Yeah.
and hopefully we'll get there one day. So yeah.
100%. Well, I mean, we've nearly been going for an hour, and I just want to say thank you so much. Genuinely,
you.
genuinely, like
Oh,
it's been such a
amazing conversation.
No, thank you so much for
We
having
could
me.
stay here all night,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I know you got to
we,
shift.
we can talk this all day long, but I think that hustler mentality is
Yeah.
what really got me like
yeah.
through a lot of things, you know.
And more than that, I throughout our conversation, I've been writing a few notes because we like to summarize the key ingredients which we think our guest has portrayed throughout their journey. And so I've written down a few that I want to share with you. I think drive is clearly a big one. You go out and do whatever has to be done, and it kind of links to hustle. You know, whether it's COVID and things shut down,
Yep,
you
let's
do
go.
whatever you have to do. You take everything in your stride, and I think that's really more. It's even more than an entrepreneurial trait. It's really a successful trait because when things get tough, you go out and
You go harder.
yeah, exactly right.
You go
exactly.
harder. That's what you do.
And I think the other one is you take opportunities in your stride. You know, when your friend reached out and said, "Hey, do you want to do takeaway?"
Yep.
Yep.
Let's go. And when you don't think too much and you just take opportunities as they come, and you're just constantly moving forward. And I think that is, I respect that so much. And it almost ties into this idea of 1% better every day that
Yeah.
we're saying, constantly improving
Yeah.
and trying to get better. It's an exponential curve, right?
And I always say this to people, right? Opportunity is like a bus. It's only for people that who's ready to get on because the bus is leaving regardless
Yeah.
you're on or not.
Yeah.
You just got to jump on.
Yeah.
And then the other one I have is adaptability. I
100%.
think COVID is a perfect example. No matter what's happening,
Yeah.
you adapted to the situation.
Especially in the business world, I think like if you can't adapt, you're gonna fall behind.
Yeah.
That's the only
Yeah.
that's the only way I will say, especially it's actually in all businesses.
Yeah, I think
Like
it's
you
even
could
just
be the institution OG, you can be but if you don't move along with the world, you're just gonna left behind, and the world is moving without you. Yeah.
absolutely. And then the last one, we've heard it so many times throughout our conversations with other people, is you are so authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good. We try to keep it real.
You are
There's
real.
no point. Otherwise, there's no point. Otherwise,
Yeah,
I could sit
yeah.
here and do another 40 podcasts saying the same shit. It's
Yeah.
like it's boring, you know.
And I think being authentic, you don't have to try and hide anything. And you can just go out and focus on, rather than worrying, oh, who do I have to be?
Yeah.
You just can worry about the task at hand.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that we've seen a lot of successful people do, is just be themselves and drive hard on what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah, 100%.
I think, I mean, people come here to your restaurant. I'm pretty sure your food is delicious, but
hope so.
mainly they come because of you.
Yeah, correct. So, like, I think that the brand is really established that like people know what they're coming in for.
Yeah.
Like it's a truffle, it's a wagyu, it's a lobster, it's a caviar. You know, like they want some of that energy as well. And I think like sometimes, yeah, the energy is quite intense here. Like, yeah, but we love it. Like,
We love that.
I love the like. When I go to work, I go to work. When I sleep, I also think about work. Like when I'm not working, I'm thinking about what can I do in the work. Like I'm always just ready to go, and which I love. Like some people ask me like when do you think you'll stop cooking or stop working? I was like, well, I couldn't imagine that.
Yeah.
Every day I wake up, I go to work, you know, and I love it. People say, oh, that's like slavery. I'm like, well, but if I'm enjoying it, then
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
why not?
Yeah.
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 Thank you so
And
much, guys.
So, Sam, thank you so much. For anyone who wants to find out a bit more about you and S'more, where can they find some more information?
Just go to my Instagram. Everything is on there. So
What's your handle?
Big Sam Young.
Big Sam Young, you heard it there. And if you aren't already, please follow us at the Quest for Success Pod on Instagram, and also leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Sam, thank you so much. It's been an absolute honor, and we'll see you guys
you,
next
Sam.
week.
Thank you so much.